I can do this, and I'm doing isometric contraction of my pectoralis major, right? When I do that, like that, right? Or if I do, you guys know what isometric is. Yep. No visible shortening of the muscle. Okay, good. Isotonic, sometimes called dynamic, is where we're doing either concentric, that's a muscle shortening, versus a muscle lengthening. So I think of a curl. I'm shortening, that's concentric. I'm lengthening, that's eccentric. Easy, right? Right? This is easy. I want you guys to know that iso means same, right? Iso, like an isotonic drink, or iso is same. So same metric is length. This is, I'm going to try to lift this. This is an isometric contraction of my biceps. There's the length doesn't change. It's the same length, right? Isotonic is supposed to mean iso, same tension. When I do this with a barbell, and I take 50 pounds, I'm not exerting the same tension because my joint angle changes. And you guys know when your joint angle changes, the levers change, the muscle change. There's a weak spot and there's a you know what I mean? Right? So the tension isn't the same, right? So this word, isotonic, is really not a good term to when you're talking about this, we really shouldn't call it isotonic. We should call it dynamic. It's moving. And if we call this one dynamic, then this one we should call static. So really, if you guys want to be precise, you would say an isometric contraction is a static contraction. There's no movement. This one, there's a dynamic. And the dynamic contraction has a concentric component and an eccentric component. Okay? Right? You guys knew that or not? I'm guessing you guys did, but eccentric. This is a weird one. Like, what's eccentric? How would you define eccentric other than saying it's a lengthening contraction? Give me an example besides this, lowering a barbell. What would be an eccentric contraction besides that?
Squatting.
So when I go down?
I think it's the opposite.
So we said this is a lengthening contraction, right?
Right.
So that means I'm working against gravity.
Right, so when you're going from squatting position to standing up, it's eccentric.
Okay, what we have to do is talk about which muscles are you talking about, right?
Yeah.
Because when I do this with a barbell, and let's just look at my glutes, gluteus maximus, right? What does this muscle do? No, what's the purpose? The purpose of it is a hip extensor, right? This muscle does this, right? It extends my hip. Mm-hmm. This is hip flexion. This is hip extension. So if I start here, I'm in hip extension. I'm going to hip flexion, but I'm using these muscles against gravity. I'm fighting gravity by going down slowly. So these are eccentrically contracting, right? When I push up, now I'm doing concentric, right? I'm pushing up. Mm-hmm. Here's the lab that we did that we don't do in this class, but it's a muscle soreness lab, and I want you guys to watch this carefully. Think about this. I'm going to step up with my lead leg, my right leg, and I'm always going to lead with this leg, just because I want you to know I'm leading with this leg. If I do this, okay, I'm going to try to do it in slow motion. First off, I have hip flexors, hip extensors. I got knee extensors. This is knee extension, right? I've got hamstrings are knee flexors, right? This is flexion. I've got gastrocs that are dorsiflexors, right? That's dorsiflexion. Yes? Okay, so watch this. If I do this, I'm going to step up. Tell me what this muscle is doing, concentric or eccentric? It's short.
It's concentric, yeah.
What?
Concentric.
Oh, concentric, good. When it shortens, it's concentrically contracting, right?
Right.
Tell me what this muscle is doing. It's a hip extensor, and I'm extending.
Elongating, so it's...
No, it's not elongating. It's elongating here. Watch what happens.
Oh, okay.
Because this is a hip extensor, and that's what I'm doing, right? I'm extending my hip.
Okay.
Because this is hip flexion right now.
Okay.
So, concentric, yes. Look at my plantar flexor on this leg, my trail leg. I'm pushing.
That's concentric.
It's shortening. So, concentric, right? Concentric. I'm going to go down with my lead leg again. What is this muscle doing? It's lengthening.
Eccentric.
Yeah, because I'm going against gravity. What is this muscle doing, my glute back here? It's lengthening because it's going against gravity. If I go slow enough, right? I'm doing this. What's my plantar flexor on my lead leg doing right
That's extended.
now?
Eccentric.
Eccentric, 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 right? So when you're working against gravity, it's eccentric. So when we do this lab, imagine this. We do this for 20 minutes at 60 clicks per minute. Up, up, down, down. You guys would do this for 20 minutes. And it gets boring, right? You're doing this. 20 minutes goes by, then you guys go home, and then 24 hours later, is this sore? 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 This is my lead leg. This is my trail leg. What ends up happening is no soreness, no soreness, no soreness. Ooh, sore, sore, sore. Because those are the eccentric ones, right? You get sore when you do eccentric contractions. Boy, I thought you guys knew this, so what if I do a pull-up? Tell me biceps. I'm pulling up. They're shortening, so it's concentric. And it's flexion, right? I'm flexing it at the elbow. That's what this muscle does. Now I'm extending when I lower myself, and what people get confused about is I go, oh, I'm lowering myself, I'm extending. This is called extension, right? So I must be using my extensors. No, you're using your biceps, but you're lowering against gravity. If I use these, I would pick myself up and then throw myself down to the ground. Doing push-ups. If I push myself up from the ground, I'm extending at the elbow, so this is concentric, right? When I lower myself down, I'm doing arm flexion, but I'm not using my flexors, because if I use my flexors, I have to grab the carpet and pull my face into the ground. Right? So when you're working against gravity, that's eccentric.
Well, if you're working against gravity in a pulling motion, it's it's concentric.
Yeah.
But if you're working against gravity in a pushing motion, it's eccentric.
When I do this, I'm working against gravity, but I'm overcoming gravity. Mm-hmm. So if gravity's winning, right, then this is eccentric. So yeah, when I say working against gravity, what I mean is you're fighting gravity, but gravity's winning. When gravity wins and you're trying, it's.
But I think that works, because if you do a pull-up or if you do a curl and you're going against gravity, you're flexing those muscles. It's concentric. But in the step, or in a step or a squat, if you're fighting against gravity, you're extending those muscles, so it's eccentric. It's a pushing motion. It's the same with the bench press. They're both eccentric, and you're.
This is not eccentric.
Oh.
No, this is.
Oh, because okay.
Yeah, I'm pushing the weight up, and I'm shortening my pecs.
Okay.
When I lower,
okay. Yeah,
that's eccentric. So when I was a grad student, we had a muscle soreness lab, not like this one, because this one allows me to get sore, right? Same legs. We would pair up, and so let's say you and I are partners, right? I would get a barbell. Well, we'd flip a coin, and I'm the eccentric guy. You're the concentric guy. So you're this concentric guy. We'd get you on the bench, and you'd take I don't know what weight, but you just go. And you push it up. Then I would pull the bar away from you, so you never got to do the down motion. And you just put your arms back down here. I give you the bar again. Take the bar away. And you were just the concentric guy. Then I take a set. You give it to me, and I go. And you take the bar, put it back up. I grab it. All I'm doing is eccentric. Guess who gets sore?
Eccentric.
Oh yeah. Somebody come up to you and poke you. You get sore. So if you guys have gotten sore before, and usually it's eccentric stuff. You know. Well, because you're physically fit. We could get you sore if you wanted to get sore.
Probably.
I did. We're talking too much about soreness, but we did a study. There was an athletic trainer who looked at kinesio tape. You guys know kinesio tape, and they use it over there. So he wanted to do a master's thesis and said, "I want to do a study to see if kinesio tape somehow affects muscle soreness." So, all right, we're going to put kinesio tape on one arm and kinesio tape on regular tape on another arm. And we're going to see if there's a difference in soreness. How do you get these muscles sore? How would you get your biceps sore? He looked in the literature and found an exercise protocol. What would you do if you wanted to get these sore?
Do bicep curls.
Explain more. Explain in more detail.
Add weights and then lifts.
Eccentric
strides.
movement of biceps.
You guys are saying eccentric. So you're going to give me 40 pounds in this arm, 40-pound dumbbell. And you're going to say, Gary, lower it in 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3. And then you pick the thing back up again and say, lower it. And you do 10 of these, right? And I'm going, oh my God, I'm trying to fight gravity. All I'm doing is the lowering part. And then you say, okay, rest. Then you give me 30 pounds. And then you give me 20 pounds. You just fatigue the hell out of me, but all I'm doing is this, just lowering the bar. Oh my God. If you did that, the next 24, 48 hours, you're walking around like this. It's just, I tried it, and it's painful as hell. And then we did the same thing with this arm. So now you're getting your arm sore. Put kinesio tape on this arm, put regular tape on this arm. Is there a difference? You know, they would rate their soreness, and it didn't work. There was no soreness difference. But that was a protocol for just inducing soreness, man.
But that's also a good way to build strength too. That's what I was always told.
Yeah,
like,
you need
focus on the negatives. Like if you can't do a pull up, jump up there, and then like slowly lower yourself down.
The eccentric part is an important component of strength gains. They've compared people who only do this with people who do this, and people who do this, and this motion it's I don't know what the signal is, but it's important. It's better than just doing this only. So yeah.
Were you able to?
It's important to like
To
have
control it. Yeah, you don't want people to go up and then go,
Yeah.
just drop it. Up and drop it. You're supposed to.
What?
Did you have a chance to look at that link I sent you?
No.
Obviously
Like,
not. You don't even know what. I was really curious about why muscles get bigger and yet they don't correlate necessarily with strength.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And so hypertrophy versus
Yeah.
strength. And I found a pretty good article about that.
Okay. Send it to me too.
Okay.
You sent it to me like email.
And it's just basically the innervation. The nerves recruit more muscles.
Okay, send it to me. I'll take a look at it. I'll be curious to see.
Yeah, you might have.
All right, so
some more
this is the
input.
easy stuff, right? Isotonic, isometric, dynamic, static. What is it called? If this is same length and this is same tension, what's same speed? What would the same speed be if I hook my leg up to a iso what? Same speed.
Isokinetic?
Isokinetic, yeah. You guys have seen Cybex, maybe you haven't, Cybex dynamometer. They use it in rehab. So somebody sits on in a Cybex thing, and they strap this thing to your leg, and basically the instrument, they turn the dial, and it's you can turn it to 30 degrees per second. It means when they say, okay, I want you to extend, and you do knee extension and knee flexion. You're going to push up and pull back. So I'm working this muscle, I'm working this muscle. I can't go any faster than this. No matter how hard I go, I can only go 30 degrees per second. You can crank it up to 60 degrees or 180 degrees per second. If I put it at 180 degrees per second, I go, I can do it faster. But I can't go any faster than 180. And you say, well, what am I measuring here? Well, there's a little chart that shows you the torque that you're exerting. So it looks like a piece of chart paper. And you get these torque curves. So when I do knee extensions, I'm kicking and I'm pulling. I'm kicking and pulling, kicking and pulling. And then you look at the torque. I mean, it's just, so isokinetic is the same speed. You're doing the same speed, forward and backward. You test at different speeds. It's used mainly for rehab, not for training, because we don't have this expensive stuff. So isokinetic just means same speed. And you might say, well, what's so good about isokinetic? Well, it's good because it doesn't seem to cause as much muscle soreness. Okay, that's a plus. It's expensive, that's a minus. When you think of athletics, hitting a baseball, I don't do it at the same speed. I mean, I'm accelerating. When I throw, I'm accelerating. When I kick, so it's not really applicable to sports. So it's kind of rehab. Okay, so this is just a table that says dynamic and static. You guys know what dynamic and static are. You know what concentric and eccentric are. There's the picture, right? You got it. And I don't know why the guy's lifting barbed wire over there, but he's got barbed wire. I don't know. Okay, this says review. Review muscle twitch. I don't even want to talk about this. You guys know what a muscle twitch is. You send a signal, it twitches. Okay? When I see this, so this is just what happens in it. The picture is, hey, there's a twitch. I twitch, right? Okay, fine. Stimulus, then I relax. That's fine. We know that from basic bio. Speed, the speed of the twitch, speed of the shortening is faster in fast twitch muscle fibers. We know that. Has a higher ATPase activity, so fast twitch fibers have, remember we said it has more sarcoplasmic reticulum. You know, it releases the calcium at a faster rate. So, I mean, this is such an easy question. What contracts faster, a fast twitch muscle or a slow twitch muscle? A fast twitch muscle. That's how easy can that be? There's the twitch. So that's it. That's a twitch. Review if you want. Force regulation. This one says potential exam stuff. So here's what I want you guys to think about. How do I know? I know that when I want to pick this up, right? I pick it up, and I've recruited some motor units to pick it up. Then I want to pick this up. You know, let's say it's got 40 pounds in there. How am I regulating? You know, I want to pick this. I don't have to recruit so many motor units for this. So how do I do it? How do I match the number of motor units to the thing I want to lift up, or the force I want to exert? Well, more motor units is greater force. So when I pick this up, maybe I used one motor unit with, I don't know, 100 muscle fibers. Then I picked up the book, and I had to recruit 10 motor units, right? So the way I can increase my force or regulate the force is just change the number of motor units. If I'm running on a flat ground, I don't have to recruit so many motor units, but I run uphill, I have to recruit more. So more is greater force, right? One motor unit doesn't develop as much force as 10. 10 does more than 1. Fast twitch motor units have greater force generation capacity because they're fast twitch fibers. They're bigger, they're stronger. So if I want to, I pick up this book and I recruit, you know, some slow twitch slow twitch motor units, 10 of them, and then I go to this heavy dumbbell. Holy cow! Those 10 slow twitch fibers, those 10 slow twitch motor units, however many fibers are associated with it, can't handle it. So I've got to recruit these guys, the fast twitch guys. So I recruit those, and let's say that I can lift it. So now I've recruited slow twitch and fast twitch, and it's also a number of motor units. Big picture is, how do you develop greater force? More motor units and fast twitch. Increased stimulus strength recruits more and faster, stronger motor units. So if I gave it a really strong stimulus, I'm going to recruit more and develop more force. And you'll see the terms that you guys are familiar with in these next couple slides. Again, here's the big picture. We're talking about, how do I regulate the force? How do I tell the muscle how much force to exert? One thing that affects muscle force, besides the number of motor units that you're recruiting or the type of motor units, is the length of the muscle. And here's what I want you guys, when you see this when you guys talk about muscle length and force, think about this. Pretend you took a muscle fiber out of my bicep, and you took it out and you put it on this lab instrument where you could tie both ends together, and there's my muscle right there. There's my muscle, just that muscle fiber, right? Yes? And it's just there. It's just in this lab. It's at resting length. I just took it out and put it there. And then I'm going to take something and twitch it. And somehow I twitch it, and I can measure the force. If I twitch it, it's going to develop a certain amount of force, right? That's resting length, right? It's just the resting, yes? What if I take this muscle and I elongate it, and then I connect it, and then I twitch it? It goes down, because remember, you got this actin myosin, those actin myosin heads, remember that those sarcomeres are doing this kind of stuff? If I stretch it, pretty soon I don't have enough pulling power. Likewise, here's resting length. What if I shorten it to half the distance? I shorten it, now I've got, and the pictures are, let me see, here's a picture. Here's resting length, and you got all these actin myosin interactions, and I twitch it and it can pull. If I shorten it too much, now things are bumping into one another, or if I stretch it, I don't have enough actin myosin interaction. Look what happens to the force. It's low, there's an optimal range, it's about resting length, and then it goes down. So it's basically, big picture is, the optimal length for force in a muscle length is about resting length. But that's this. That's when you take that muscle fiber and you stick it in a lab apparatus. It's not in your body. It's just taking this isolated muscle saying, hey, you know, that actin-myosin stuff really has an effect on force, right? This tension development. Does that make sense? So you don't want your muscle to be too stretched out or too. That's what this is saying. Let me back up. So there's an ideal length for force generation. What I want you guys to think about, though, that was a single muscle fiber. Tell me this. This is my resting length of my bicep, right? You guys agree? Is this where my biceps are the strongest? Where would it be? Maybe about there somewhere? Yeah, probably not there. If you tested me isometrically, there, probably going to be somewhere around here. Well, wait a minute. That's not my resting length. This is saying resting length is where you get the greatest force. Why is this the more powerful? Why can I generate more tension here? What's different about the muscle fiber that was stuck on that apparatus and the muscle fiber that's in my body right here?
Shorter.
Yeah, but what else?
It's already contracted.
Keep going.
More potential.
Keep thinking. What's different? I took the muscle fiber out and I put it on the bench. This muscle is connected to my body.
It's thicker.
It's connected to my joints. The joint angle has an effect, right? I mean, you guys know from biomechanics that the joint angle has an effect on tension. So there's a strong, this is my strongest joint angle, let's say, for this muscle group. And it's not my resting length. That was for artificial sort of single muscle. I want you guys to know that muscle length has an effect, but also in your body, the joint angle probably overrides it. This plays a bigger role because it's connected. So you say, okay, then why did you tell us about the single muscle fiber? Well, because muscle stretch does help you contract. Think of this. I'm going to do Olympic trials, and I'm going to do the discus. Right? So what do? I take my discus and I do this. What is this doing to my pec when I go like this?
Stretching it.
It's stretching it. So I stretch it, right? And I'm stretching. So muscle. I'm trying to take advantage of muscle length because ideal muscle length is kind of a little bit longer than resting length, but pretty close. So stretch has an effect, but also joint angle has an effect. I'm really going too slow on this because I think you guys know this, sort of in a way.
So how would you ask, like, what kind of question would you ask to incorporate that information?
I think big picture, I would say, here's the question, which of the following factors, here's my question, which of the following things can regulate force development? A, muscle length. Yes, you'd say definitely. That true. Number of motor units you activate. Yes, more is better. Type of motor units. Yes, fast twitch is better than slow twitch. All the above, none of the above. All the above. Length, number of motor units, type of motor units. Those are the things that regulate the amount of force. How do I jump higher? Well, how do I jump higher? Okay, I guess I could do, tell me if, well, I guess I could just start down here and just jump, right? Versus do this, a counter movement, and now I'm putting my muscle on stretch, and then I jump. So you go, okay, that length change maybe had an effect on helping me. How did I jump higher when you hooked an electrode into my ass and really shot? Well, not only did I activate, when I do it without the electrode, I activate 100 motor units. Then you give me an electrode, and you crank that thing up, and you go, zappo. Well, now you've recruited 200 plus fast twitch. And my head hits the ceiling, right? So you with a counter movement, you can increase the length of the muscle, which increases force, the number and the type of motor units.
So then how would you incorporate a question about the joint thing?
I wouldn't.
That's kind of what, okay.
I mean, that's more biomechanics, but it's what I want you guys to know is, it's like exercise phys says, there's something called, and just so you guys know, let me see, this thing is called the length-tension relationship. You go, yeah, there's tension, here's length, tension. It goes up, there's an optimal, and it goes down. Where's optimal? Oh, about 100, maybe somewhere in here, 100, 120% of resting length. Take a muscle fiber, I want it to be about a resting length. That's called the length-tension relationship. Done. That's exercise fits. Then you go to biomechanics and you go to kinesis or biomechanics. Oh, joint angles are important, and here's the optimal way to do this and that. So it's related. So I wouldn't ask you a question about joint angle because we haven't really covered. And every joint, every muscle group has a. I mean, I'm saying this for the biceps, but I don't know what the hamstrings are and what the hip flexors are, and there's all kind. Every muscle has its own place where it's optimally strong, I guess, because of the joint angle. So that's way beyond us. But I want you guys to know, length of a muscle affects tension. It's called a length-tension relationship. Okay? More and type of motor units affects it. This says the nature of the stimulation. If you just twitch a muscle, gives a certain amount of force. Do these terms look familiar? Summation and tetanus. We talk about tetany. So the picture looks like, if I increase the stimulus strength, I'm increasing the number of motor units, so I'm increasing the tension, the force development. Here's the one I want you guys to look at. Right? I twitch. So this is twitch, twitch. Look at the tension, right? And you twitch it faster. Oh, then it sums. That's called summation. And then when it smooths out, it's called tetanus. So just the frequency of the neural stimulation affects. And you look at this and you say, okay, I get it. More frequent stimuli result in tetanus, which is more tension than just a simple twitch. How do we move? When I throw a javelin or whatever, do I do twitches? No. Normal movement, volleyball and whatever sport you're doing is coordinated tetanic or tetanus type movement. So it's kind of like artificial talking about twitches, but it's a phenomenon that when you twitch, you don't get as much force as you do when you twitch faster and it reaches tetanus. It's just, does that make sense? This is basic bio, so I have to review. It's the terms like tetanus and summation. Okay. We're going to get through this before my alarm goes. In addition to that length-tension relationship, which was that, where was it? That. Length-tension relationship. This next relationship is called the force-velocity relationship, a force-velocity curve. And it's kind of hard to read in words, so let's take it slow. At any given force, the speed of movement is greater in the muscle with the highest. Let me look at it, see if I've got it. Here's the force-velocity relationship. Look at just one curve. Let's look at this curve. You say, okay, I'm going to look at this white curve. Force is there. This says velocity of movement. How fast am I moving? So when I move fast, I can't develop as much force. As I move slower, I can develop more force. Imagine this. Imagine if we did a lab and we said, okay, everybody, we're going to randomly do it, but we're going to have a 2-pound dumbbell, 2, 5, 10, and 20. 2, 5, 10, 20, 30, right? And so everybody's got to take a turn, and you just pick up a weight, and somebody's going to time how many can you do with whatever weight you're given. So I give you 30. And you did 4 of them, and I give you 2 pounds. I give you 5 pounds. The heavier the weight, the slower you go, right? I mean, that's what it's saying. Or the lighter the weight, the faster you can go. That's what this is saying, right? The lighter the weight, the faster you can go. Does that make sense? Sort of? So here's a light, heavy down there, light's here, I can go faster. The more weight I add, the slower I go. That's force velocity. Does that make sense? You can go faster when you have lighter weight. The interesting thing when you're comparing, these are slow twitch, these are fast twitch. It's like this is a muscle with greater. Actually, I got it backwards. This is slow twitch. Slow twitch and fast twitch. So here's a slow twitch. It's got less than 50% fast twitch fibers. So let's say this is a slow twitch muscle. That's a fast twitch muscle. You look at it and you say, what do the words say? At any absolute force, the speed is greater in fast twitch. We know fast twitch are faster. So let's look at it. At any given force, let's say we use this force right here. Well, this force, here's how fast I am if I'm slow twitch. At this force, here's how fast I am if I'm fast twitch. It's just saying fast twitch, you give a fast twitch fiber A fast twitch muscle, a 2-pound weight, it's going to go faster than a slow twitch. That's what it's saying. That's what that. I mean, it says it in a sort of a wordy way, and this just says kind of the opposite. It's saying at any given velocity, it says that at any given velocity of shortening, let's see, the maximum shortening velocity is greatest at the lowest force. So this is saying here's maximum velocity. It's at the lowest force for that group. Here's the maximum velocity, or I can move fastest at the lightest weight. That's what it's saying. Do you guys agree that if this is a slow twitch and that's fast twitch, it looks to me like if I want to move this fast, 300, well, I can develop this much force on slow twitch, but look at the force I can develop with a fast twitch. So the curve is shifted that way because it's a fast twitch fiber. It can, at any given velocity, it can develop more force because it's fast twitch, right? Does that make sense? It's fast twitch, so it would be nice if I wanted to move fast and push a lot of force to have fast twitch muscle fibers. But it's the curve that's the important thing. It's showing that you move fastest with the lightest weight. Does it make sense? Okay. This is, just so you guys know, this is like out of the book, and it has velocity and force, right? When I learned it, it was flipped around, but it says the same thing. Here's force, and there's velocity. You can, when you're moving, if you want to move a lot of force, that's up here, maximal force, I can't move very fast. This is low. I can move fast when the force is low. Right? I mean, it's just saying the same thing no matter where the axes are. And you say, well, what can move faster? Well, fast twitch fibers. What can develop more force? Fast twitch fibers. That's the big thing. The speed affects your amount of force you can develop. All right, now this gets, that might be something I would ask you, which muscle fiber type develops more force at a given speed? You would say fast twitch. But you wouldn't even have to know this picture. You would just go fast twitch and move faster at any given force. That's what they do. This one is the same thing. It's a little bit different, but it's the same thing, but it's talking about power. And you say, wait, force is amount of force. Power is force divided by time. How quickly can I do it? And when we do athletics, we're always talking about power. When you talk about the shot put, you're talking power. You're not talking force. If I could take that shot put and I don't know how I would do this, but I didn't care how fast I pushed it. That would be force. But I want to push it. I want to develop that force over time, so it's power. So athletics, we should be talking about the power-velocity relationship, and it says the same thing. It says fast twitch are better, and here's what it looks like. Here's my power, great power, low power. Here's my velocity, slow and fast. And you say, if I'm a slow twitch fiber, here's what it looks like. The faster I go, the more power I can develop, because power is involved. And then at some point, it says, hey, there's kind of like an optimal sort of speed of movement. If I'm going too fast, and think about it, it's almost like moving too fast is kind of, it's going down. You're moving too fast, you can't generate enough tension. It's like, and the best way I can explain it is, imagine if I'm on a cycle and I'm going slow. I can generate, I can really push, right? But if I go a little faster, that's more power, right? So I load this thing up and I'm going faster, but imagine if I go too fast, that I'm almost like if you put 1 kilogram on a cycle and you just went all out, it's just, you can't develop any power because you're going too fast. This power velocity thing is, when I look at this, I say, yes, power is what we do in athletics. The big picture is, there's a slow muscle fiber, there's a fast muscle fiber. You say, what develops the greatest amount of speed or the greatest amount of force at any given speed? It's the fast twitch fibers. So the big picture is fast twitch fibers are more powerful, they're stronger, they're faster. That's what these represent. Test questions? No. I mean, I would ask, if I asked a question, it would be which is more powerful, fast twitch or a slow twitch? And I'd ask it in a multiple choice question. All right, my alarm went off, 10:21, 10 minutes. And let's finish this up, man. And yeah, let's finish this up. So 10 minutes. I'm assuming you guys know too much, right? No? Am I assuming?
Never.
I keep on saying
assuming too much?
summation and tetanus. You guys know this, and I was thinking, yeah,
Say that's like review. That's like not on the exam. Right?
yeah. If it's review on your own, I don't have time. I mean, I'm talking about it, and I shouldn't be. I should just go review.
Okay.
So, you know, he's worried about the exam. So, what time did you get to bed last night? Late.
Like midnight.
I heard somebody. I was in bed. And I heard 1:30. I heard somebody shooting a gun.
A
It was
gun?
Far. It must have been because it didn't sound like firecrackers. It sounded like bam, bam, bam. Oh God! And it was far away, but
Right. Yeah, we watched the fireworks at the waterfront and then booked it out of there right when it was done.
really good.
Yeah, it was a good show.
We went to a picnic and then I said, I've seen fireworks before. It's like, so then I feel old. Like, we don't know.
It's like like obviously if I knew somebody, like I would rather go to like I guess, like a party and then like, watch like home fireworks, but we don't set off any fireworks out where we're at or anything, so.
I went, and our neighborhood's getting old. I mean, we don't have any kids, so like there's fewer people out doing stuff. But I was online at OregonLive.com, the Oregonian, and I saw this link that said 15 videos of failed firework fails.
Oh God.
And I go, oh, I gotta see this.
Nah.
And of course, you see, somebody lights a rocket and it goes into somebody's house, something like that. That's stupid. And you see people looking, lighting it and looking down, and things blow up. You didn't see anybody get killed or anything, but there was a couple of them where they were professional fireworks shows, and you can see, like you're out in Texas, there's this, and you see these. And then things go wrong, and then everything starts exploding, and it looked like it looked really dangerous. I'm going, wait, if that's a professional fireworks show, and it looked like people were hiding behind cars, things were just, so I said, nah.
That's something to crazy fast.
And then they ended it with like slide 14 was a series of like firefighters who were showing with dummies. Here's what happens when you hold the M80 in your hand, blows the dummy's hand off, and blows the guy's head off.
Well, I know they were talking about like this might be the last year.
Vancouver, I heard.
Well, they were talking about Portland, I heard too, like very briefly, about just not having fireworks for sale anymore at all.
I read the paper this morning. It said so and so was hurt, another guy was taking life-flighted, or
Well, now it's like people now it's like we have such a fire danger too. It's like we're letting people's backyards on fire. And
I'm